Okay, I have this very simple scene set up. There's some reflective materials applied to the windows of these buildings. I have the render camera locked down, it's protected. Let's just see what this looks like. I'll just do a quick render. This is just with the default settings. There's no global illumination, nothing like that. And just using the standard renderer. Okay. First of all, let's make a sky object, not physical sky, but just a plain old sky object. I'll talk about physical sky in another video series. And render this, and not much of a change. It does illuminate it a little bit, and it changes the background. Okay. What I want to do next, I think let's add the sun light. So hit the drop-down menu for the lights and choose sun light. And then just do a quick render here. Get some interesting effects there. The sunlight is at this point a very warm sun. So let's just check out this sun light object. So click on the sun in the object manager. And the only two tabs that I'm going to deal with in this exercise are the shadow tab and the sun tab. So let's click on the sun tab. And you can see what happens is it defaults, Cinema 4D calculates as if the sun was at this date and time and at this latitude, 51 degrees latitude north. And we can change that, all these parameters. Let's not mess around with latitude and longitude, but let's try varying the time of day here instead of. And the time, it'll default to the time that is on your computer. So if you're doing this at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, this is going to say 5 p.m. Let's change it to 8:30 in the morning, and hit the quick render here. And now you can see the angle of the shadows is different. And the position of the shadows I like because it's adding some definition to the objects, casting a shadow on the building here. But you can see the shadows are very, very unrealistic, very dense, very sharp edged. So with the sun object still selected, let's click on the shadow tab, and you can see it defaults to ray traced, which is a very hard edge, low render time, but not realistic. Hit the drop-down menu and choose area, which is our most realistic shadow. And if I do a quick render, you can see it does look halfway better, but it's still very, very dense and dark. Now with this light, we're not going to get like super realistic effects, but for this exercise and even for some projects, perhaps for the cityscape project that you're working on, this might work okay and be sufficient. So in the shadow tab, I'm going to just set the density to 80% and do a render here, and that looks pretty good. I like how the shadows are like giving me definition to my objects, and I think that's looking okay. So if you're going to use this sun light, that's a really awkward name because it's not sunlight, it's the light called sun. And anyway, if you're going to use that, so you're going to just play around with the time on the sun tab and the shadow density, and keep it at keep your shadows at area shadows. All right, so we got this sky object that we've used before. Now in previous assignments, what we've done was we've taken a JPEG object and applied it to a material, and then that would be our texture for our sky. We're going to do the same thing, except use an HDRI, a high dynamic range image. A high dynamic range image has the technology is that the image is a light source. Okay, so let's make a material. And we've done this 100 zillion times. We've made materials. I'm going to make a new material. Let's call it sky. And we're going to turn off the reflectance. Reflectance channel is off. We're just using the color channel. So color channel, texture, hit the ellipsis dots, and we're going to navigate. Let me show you. So here's my little exercise folder. Here's the folder I downloaded from the internet and opened up. This is what I want to choose is this guy here. Underscore ref.hdr. It's 15.2 megabytes. Make sure you're grabbing the correct image. You don't want any of these other ones. Click open, and it'll say, do you want to, blah blah blah. What this, say yes. Okay. The image is not in the project search path. Click yes. And in case you don't know it already, what that does is what Cinema 4D has done now is just it made a TEX text folder in my project folder. If I click on that, this is the image that we just applied to the material. Okay, so I got my materials all squared away. It's got the image on it. I got it named. Close that. Now just click, hold, and drag the sky material onto the sky object, and that it's going to look really, really stupid. So let me hit a quick render here, and here we are out on the prairie, in Indiana, wherever the heck it is. So I got to, change the orientation of the image. I could rotate. You can rotate the sky object if you want to. I prefer to come over here, click on the texture tag of sky, and in the attribute manager, click on the tag tab. Offset U and offset V is what we're going to work with. Remember, offset U is equivalent to X, V is equivalent to Y. So offset U, if I change offset U, what it does is it'll change the horizontal positioning of the image. Okay, offset V will change the up and down Y value of the image. Okay, and playing around with this, let me just do a quick. I just randomly pick some numbers there, and I'm going to do a render here to see what you got, and to see what I have here. Now again, the HDRI it is a light source. Okay. So I'm getting these really blown out highlights, so I just got to play around with the U and V offsets to get something that I like. Playing around with this earlier, I found that the offset U at -100 and offset V at 30 gave me some pretty decent sky backgrounds. So that's the HDRI image. So it did, let's see, let me do a render here. Global illumination is not going to affect this image a lot, because we don't have that much going on. But the applying the HDRI to the sky, it did change the illumination of the scene, and it enriched it and made it better. So I think the lighting on this is looking pretty good, just as this is. So this is one option for your cityscape project if you want to explore that. And in the next video, I want to talk about Cinema 4D presets that could be used on the sky object. So I'll see you in the next video.